So get ready to ditch those excuses and start prepping smart. Even a small stockpile can help you in an emergency. But many people have the excuse, I just don't have the storage space. I don't have a basement. I don't have a spare room. So I really just can't prep. Well, I'm going to tell you today that is not the case. All it takes is a little creativity and some practical tips. And that's what we're discussing today. I think when you watch a lot of the YouTube channels, you think, well, most preppers are, homesteaders, right? They got this acreage, they got this big house, they might even have a barn. But you know what? That's not the case. Preppers' homes come in all sizes, from small efficiency apartments to gigantic mansions. And now, yes, I live in a big house on 5 acres, have a big out storage building, but you know what? I didn't always have that. When we were first married, we lived in a very small 1-bedroom upstairs apartment. So I had to learn firsthand to come up with storage hacks. And I'm going to share with you what worked for me then, and some of my amazing subscribers have shared with me some of their secret storage hacks. So let's get started. When it comes to emergency preparedness, it's great to have a 2-week goal, but you can be gradually working on that to achieve that goal. So maybe you have a 3-day goal. Achieve that, then you can go further. But most, like let's say your power's going off or water off, that is for less than a week. So if you can do a week, that's fantastic. But if you're in a disaster-prone area or just prudent, you might want at least 2 weeks. Food, water, and supplies. And if you reach that, you might decide you want 1 month or more, just to be safe. First off, I really do get it. Nobody wants to live in what looks like one of those hoarder homes, right? You don't want to have canned goods and your preps all over your place. You want to have things organized. So sometimes you feel like it's just impossible. I only live in a dorm. I only have a small apartment. But let me tell you, we're going to show you, you can do it. Because something that's important, you don't have to prep for the apocalypse, right? Like you see on a lot of channels or in a lot of movies. Really, try for that 2-week goal and then go from there. But if you achieve that goal, fantastic. Prepping is not about having everything. It's about having what you need most. Before we go into creative storage solutions, you really need to write down, pen and paper, what supplies, food and water do you need to last towards your goal, be it the 3-day goal, the 1-week goal, the 2-week goal, or more. And then tally it all up. You want to make sure you have water. They suggest at least 1 gallon of water per person per day, but that water can be heavy and take up a lot of room in a small apartment, let's say. And water weighs 8.34 pounds, so it can be heavy. So you may want to include a water filter, water purifier, so you can still have drinking water if you get your supply outside, let's say. And food, yeah, you're going to look into more non-perishable items, canned good, freeze-dried items, dehydrated items, such as that. But they have to be items that your family likes to eat. Now, maybe you live in New York in one of those small efficiency apartments, and you've been used to, going to the deli or doing takeout for most of your meals. Or maybe you live in a dorm room and you have very constrained space. You can't keep a 2-week food supply, let's say. Well, one of the things you might want to consider is the SOS Bars. They're Coast Guard approved. They have a shelf life of 5 years, and you only need 5 of these 9-bar packages for a 2-week supply. Now, I stash these Millennium bars in my go bag and in my car. They each have, let's see, 400 calories in the bar. That's quite a lot. Look at that little bar. So these are easy to stash in your car because you don't have to worry about temps, right? They'll go from negative 22 degrees, below zero, to 149 plus above 0 Fahrenheit. So these are a great storage solutions, and they can supplement what you're able to store food-wise. And of course, don't forget basic first aid supplies. Bandages, antiseptic, pain relievers, your prescription meds, things like that. Now, I always recommend also having an alternative cooking device. It might be a grill, it might be a propane stove. In those cases, make sure you have enough charcoal or propane for that grill and you have fuel for your camping stove. But also be sure you use them the way the manufacturer says. If they say you can't use them inside, don't use them inside. And depending on the time of the year, well, warmth is important, shelter is important. So you might want to have a little pop-up tent or emergency blankets, warm clothing, and a way to stay warm if your heater goes out. Now, I have one of these Mr. Buddy heaters, and they work great. But again, just make sure you follow the manufacturer's requirements for using it inside. And of course, lighting and power. You want a flashlight, and I prefer the headlamps. And of course, toilet paper, soap, hand sanitizer, baby wipes, etc. And let me get this up here. You want a go bag for each family member. If this is all you can do, at least you have a 72-hour supply of what you need in here. So this is at a minimum. And I have a video on this if you're interested. So now you know what you need. Now let's walk around your home and see if there are any spaces that you might be able to store these contents in. Look it over with fresh eyes. I think we often overlook spaces that we could use more efficiently. So of course, under furniture, like beds and sofas and chairs, those are gold mines. And look in your closet. Are there items you don't use that are taking up valuable space? In my case, we cleaned out this side of the coat closet. We had my daughter's wedding dress in there and formals that I have worn and things that we just don't use anymore. I gave the wedding dress back to my daughter. She has her own home now. And we put in these racks so we would be able to store more canned goods. So think of what do you really need in your closet. So could you add over-the-door storage racks? Well, this is for wrapping paper, but you get the idea. And you can also use something like this, which I use downstairs in my prep room. It has a lot of great pouches that I can store things on, and it's hanging on the wall. Again, doesn't take up any shelf space. Can you maximize your kitchen storage? Are you able to add any shelves? Or this nifty idea, you can install these kitchen baseboard storage units and look above your cabinets. Do you have storage area? Or if you have stairs, under your stairs. Even a small shelf can hold a lot of supplies. And repurpose furniture. How many people need china anymore? You might want to get rid of your china and use your china cabinet for storage. Or a lot of people have those old, really large TV storage units. Well, you don't really need it now with the flat TVs, so you might be repurposing that for your canned goods and your prepping supplies. Now, I have this antique buffet, and for many years, I used it to store my canned goods in. Now I keep empty jars and other things in it because I do have space downstairs. But looks great in my dining room, and nobody knows what's in there. And you can get multi-purpose furniture. How about an ottoman? Well, I have this in our guest bath. I'm keeping mainly towels in it right now and blankets, but you can see it has a lot of storage and a comfy seat. And I saw this at Wayfair. It is a coffee table with hidden compartments. Another great idea. And also you can always consider off-site storage, maybe storing at a friend's house, a neighbor's, or a relative, or rent an actual storage unit. However, I recommend keeping the preps you need most, your food, water, first aid supplies, at your house, and putting things like, holiday decoration, seasonal clothes, those type of things in the storage, because you want to have handy what you need in an emergency at your home. So now, as you're watching this video, think, do you have some extra storage spaces? So now, let me show you some real life examples. I posted this on my community page. I'm planning on shooting the final video in my No Excuses series this weekend. The I can't prep because no storage excuse. What creative storage spaces have you found in your home to store food, water, and prepping supplies? I would like to include some of your ideas in my video. Do the timeline. I need your response by Saturday at noon. Thank you. Well, I got some amazing responses and I want to share them with you. Now, ALEL6466 had a great idea. Use empty suitcases. We all have them, right? But put supplies in them. Hang shelves on the back of closet doors and of course under bed storage. And she said that he said that sometimes a bookshelf is deep enough that you can put canned goods behind the actual book, and there you have a safe display out of anyone's wandering eyes. And she had one more thing. She had a hard shelled case that she filled with food and supplies, and then she threw a tablecloth over it and put on a lamp, and she had a great end table. And again, she had one more, what she called her pro tip. She said, group your cans wherever you're storing them by expiration date, so you know which to grab first when you're rotating. Great suggestion. Big Valley Living, another great idea. She uses the empty spaces in seldom used, let's say, kitchen tools, such as this heavy roaster. She has a 22-quart roaster, and she sticks things such as tried peas, lentils, all this thing. And believe me, this can really store a lot. See if I can see that? I mean, it's a great storage idea. Now, Mosaic Homestead said he has smart bed frames and he doesn't need a spring mattress. So he has a lot of room under the bed, although he really doesn't need to use it. He's a very organized prepper. Now, Dean Coon's 3257 has muscle shelves. That's what she called them. They must be the heavyweight ones to store different items. But she also has a water bob that you can fill up, and it will store 100 gallons of water and fit conveniently in her bathtub. Hoople's cat, he built a false bottom in, it sounded like kind of a antique old wooden box, and he made it into a recycling station. But underneath that, you can lift this up and he can store a lot of canned goods completely out of sight. Karen Covington, 9960, converted the linen closet in the guest bathroom to a storage pantry. And she has room under the guest bed and on the floor in her walk-in closet. Trahira mentioned that they were empty nesters, and they have chests and drawers in the guest room. And so they leave 2 doors that look normal, so a guest can use them. But then the other drawers, they stuff with preps. And that way, everything looks normal. And Amy Schultz, 8058, puts decorative baskets above her kitchen cabinets, and that can store a lot. Yvette Chris, 8565, had really a neat suggestion. She says all of her closets have food hanging behind clothes. Well, I even went one further. Here it is. And if you take it up, let's get up the top here. Well, Okay, can you see? I actually have some freeze-dried food just put over the hanger with some office clips. Nobody knows it's there, and it doesn't take up any additional space. Trudy Hoffman 6405 has a cellar, and two of the areas aren't finished yet. It's just dirt. So they actually dug out some of the dirt, and they have additional storage for supplies. And finally, I have to share this post. It's from Michaela Puma Megs 1056. She converted her guest room to a pantry, just the way Lisa from Sutton's Days did. But then she stated, when I taught science, I taught there was always a solution to problems. And using that same logic to life makes it so much easier. So that's right. You just have to come up with solutions. So no more excuses. Get creative. Store the food, water, and emergency supplies your family needs, no matter how small your space is. Just a little creativity and planning, and you can build your emergency stash. And as always, I say, start small. Pick one thing you learned from this video. Implement it. It's always great to cross out something on that to-do list. Now, I hope you don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you're not a subscriber. And please share it, the whole No Excuses series, with someone who says they have no space, they have no money, they have no time to prep. And you can tell them, oh yes you can. Now, if you need help constructing a go bag, watch this video.